Okay, guys, we're going to spend another day with poetry. As I've looked through and thought through some of your poems, I'm noticing that there's a lot to be desired. And part of you, some of you are doing a really great job writing poems, but what the purpose of this assignment was to make sure that you're using the literary devices so that you understand them. So let's look at this rubric. I've handed this rubric out, or you should have had it. If you don't have it, they're on the front table. One, pause and come up and get one so you have one. I noticed that this is kind of blurry. We're really struggling with cameras. Try to get this figured out. All right, just look at it. You can look at the place. You can look at your own rather than the screen. All right, in this one, it says poetic devices used effectively and communicate ideas. Okay, so this is about the usage of them. All right, do they communicate ideas and do you have them? So student consistently and accurately showed a high quality of understanding of poetic devices throughout the poem. Figurative language, poetic devices, I'm really not sure what the difference is. Some of them are one and the same. So we are going to just continue to say that these are like those poetic devices. We talked about several different ones. In this rubric, it says figurative language such as, remember, there can be more, metaphors, similes, personifications, and onomatopoeia. We talked also about, and go ahead and mark up your rubric, alliteration. And I'm just going to write all the ones down. We have comparisons, imagery, we have personification, and repetition. And these are not exhaustive. That means that these are not the only ones that are out there. So write those down because that's where you're going to need to have your checklist. Your question is going to be, do I have at least 3 of these? So on the side of your rubric, write, do I have at least 3 of these? Okay, and these, what we're talking about is this right here. Okay, so do I have at least 3 of these? So whether you've already turned your poem in or not, I'd like you to get it. Either get it out of the bin, look at it on the computer, something. And you need to ask yourself the questions. Do I have at least 3 of these? Do I have at least some alliteration, comparisons, imagery, personification, repetition? Imagery should be happening naturally because you can't have a poem without having some imagery. You can't have anything to read without having those words that describe what you're looking at or what you're seeing. So let's just kind of put that one as a given. Maybe you need to focus on, do I have some alliteration, some comparisons, personification, and or repetition? You need to check off at least 3 of these in addition to imagery. Leave imagery alone. I want some alliteration in there. I want a comparison in there. One of each is fine. I want personification. I want repetition. Look at that poem we had yesterday. That you just read in reading workshop time. Let's see if there are some things in here. I know that there's imagery in here. Okay. He walked like his grandpa. He grins. So we can, right here, it's imagery is there. Okay. The other thing is, here's a simile. Love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. Like, so you can mark that as a simile. There's repetition in that, love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. I said, love that boy. So we have repetition here. Love that boy, you'll see. So let's write the word repetition out here and just circle it. So this poem has 1, 2, 3 that I have found. Now remember, imagery is, kind of one of those things. There's another one that we haven't talked about called symbolism. And this whole last stanza is symbolism. And we'll talk about symbolism just a little bit more later, but symbolism is something that represents something else. The way it's phrased, it represents a bigger idea, a bigger moment. It's similar to a comparison. So instead of just writing simile, you could even just label that one comparison. But what I want you to do today, instead of getting started with expository writing, we're going to wait one more day for that. And I want you to take your poem and I want you to really look at it with an author's eye that is looking for those literary devices and check them off. The other thing you can do is take a few minutes or after you finish that and you feel like you have one, then let's talk just a second about how to publish it. One of the things, and this goals and collaboration at the bottom, make sure you're working consistently with you and respectively with others during this workshop time. I am watching for that. But look at this: conventions, publication, neatness, handwritten or typed, okay? The writer makes no convention errors and has published their poem in very neat handwriting or has typed it. I want to add one thing to this. It needs to look good. Your art, one of the things as you grow up and you're getting to be a part of a job somewhere, quality matters. And so you need to make sure that you have presented your poem in the best way possible. So this, you just need to have quality presentation. Okay, so a quality presentation. So some of you just kind of took your poem and you glued it to a piece of construction paper and turned it in. You said, oh, that's good. Think past that. Think, okay, what is it going to make it really look nice and presentable? What would I be proud of to put on a wall? Because I'm only going to hang in the room the ones that have a really good look to them. So use today to finish working on your poems. You can also use some of tomorrow. I'll probably go ahead and record an expository lesson for you to watch for writing workshop and get started down that path again. But I really want you to take some pride and work hard on those poems today. And so you have good quality work that you're turning in for your device. So get yourself a checklist. Even if you want to turn your paper over on the back and write those words on the back and do a checklist. If you want to take your poem in your paper and mark it all up with alliteration comparisons, make sure you have everything. Like I've marked this one up. Do that however you want to do it, but make sure you have at least 3 of those devices in there, because your grade will go down if you don't have them. All right. Have a wonderful morning writing, and I'll be seeing some of you at the small group table.